And go. Okay, so this is another one of these informational videos. Whoa, have fun watching this. This is a video on advert analysis, so I'll be talking about the styles, techniques, codes and conventions, target audiences, and persuasive techniques. Okay, so the structures / styles of adverts, that's what is the advert like? So is it narrative based? So does it have a storyline? So beginning, middle, end. Is it non-narrative? So beginning, end, middle, something like that. Is it an animated advert? This isn't animated. This is real life. Or is it a talking heads advert, which is what I'm doing right now, which is just addressing the camera? And then more styles. Is it a comedy? Is it a dramatic advert? Stuff like that. Persuasive techniques. Does it have a celebrity endorsement in it? So The Voice, anywhere, UK, US, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand. All the judges, they're celebrities. Whenever they do an advert, they have celebrity judges for that year in the advert. That is a celebrity endorsement because the judges are endorsing this advert for the show that they are on. Gonna throw out a word, ethos, or the manipulation of emotions. Well, it's not really manipulation, but that's the best word I can find for it. So, does an advert make you feel really sad? Does it make you feel guilty? Does it make you feel angry? Does it make you feel happy? This is ethos. This is a thing that all adverts will do to you in some way or another. Codes and conventions in an advert, this is just very basic things. Again, same with music videos. It's camera angles, camera movement, any sound used in it, any lighting, stuff like that. Did I mention characteristics and products of a service? Characteristics, yeah. So what is the point of the ad? Why is this ad being made? Why is it being shown to you, the viewer or audience? What is the function of the product / service? So what is this ad trying to sell to you or make you aware of? If it's an advert for a charity, it's obviously trying to make you aware of this charity and what they do. If it's an advert for Toys R Us, it's trying to tell you, hey, if you've got kids, come here. If you don't have kids, still come here. We guaranteed we have something for you, because deep down everyone is a child. Also, another characteristic is how does it try to prove that it's better than competitors? Completely forgot about this, but then I'm also going to be talking about the regulations of TV adverts, so what rules they have to comply to if they're trying to be aired on TV. PRS, it's a company that regulates music, any copyright music that's being used in an advert, but then it makes sure that any money made from that advert, a percentage of that will go to the artist for the music that was put in it. Another company that adverts have to slightly comply, all adverts have to comply to when being made for ad companies and stuff is the company BARB, B-A-R-B. So the Broadcasting Audience Research Board, they basically regulate and control any media content that is aired on TV for the UK. They collect their data by volunteers, basically. Volunteers, they sign up, and this ranges from 5,000 to 5,200-ish homes throughout the UK, so Scotland, England, Ireland, Northern Ireland and Wales. They all sign up and they get this little black box that connects to their TV, and basically it records any channel that they watch, any show that they watch, and it also records how long they watch it for. So say one household is watching Gogglebox, bit meta. So yeah, a household is watching Gogglebox for the duration of the show, and then after that, whatever comes on afterwards, say that's on, and they only watch it for like 2 minutes, then realise, oh wait, countdown is on. It still records all that. It still records that 2 minutes, and compiles it into weekly data. Audience classification. This comes down to quite a variety of different things. There's such a broad spectrum of things that come under the title of audience classification, and I'm going to take you through all of them as quick as I can. First subcategory is demographics. This can be a range of things. This is from people's age to their gender, and also their working class, which is a kind of an outdated thing, but it's still there because it's still quite a typical thing that people use to classify themselves as, like, oh, I'm working class, or I'm middle class, oh, they're upper class. It's in an alphabetical list of A is the upper class, B is middle class, C1, that's where it breaks up a bit, is lower middle class, C2 is skilled working class, D is working class, and E is lower than working class. Alright, another subgenre of classification is psychographics. So this means that's more of a generic group of people. So it's more on what that main age group of people are more likely to do as a whole. I mean, it doesn't always work as each and every individual person, but as a generic whole group, younger people there put under the psychographic of aspirers. So they aspire to do something great. They want to travel. They want to make a book. They want to shoot a short film. They want to be an artist. They aspire to do things, and they take opportunities to do those things. There are succeeders. That's people who work in management. So as I said, so then there you go. It links to the class system of A through E. A, managers. Then resigned. It's older people. It's resigned. They no longer have a job. They're living out the rest of their days peacefully playing shuffleboard. That was a very bad joke. Explorers, again, young people, younger than aspirers. So aspirers, they'd be 18 to 25-ish, like either going into uni or just fresh out of uni. And then explorers, those are younger than that, so 17 and they explore, they want to see the world, they're learning about everything. They're still continuously developing their likes and dislikes. And strugglers, this is the lower demographic of people, so class D and E. Again, it's very unfair to put them in this classification, but again, it's a wide trend. It shows that it is true. The lower they are in the classification system, the more likely they are that they struggle in their day-to-day life, just keeping up rent, buying food for the week, supporting a family, stuff like that. And then there's reformers. These are the anti-materialistic people, so the people that are like, nah, I don't care about anything. Oh, I don't care for TV, I don't have a TV, I don't watch any adverts. They can't get to me. Third subcategory is geodemographics. It's basically where you live. So that again, another classification system. So you could be a skilled worker that's an aspirer, and you live in Manchester. That's all three of those. They come under one thing as an audience classification. You've just been classified as as part of an audience. So now advert makers know what would be good for you. So like, say they really want to sell this product to as many people as they want, and they're like, we haven't really focused too much at people over in Manchester, at the skilled working class. Okay, we really want to sell these power tools because we make power tools because we're a company that makes power tools. Let's really focus and make sure that these power tools are sold in Manchester. This is a very specific example, but you get my point. Okay, so those are basically the three main things for the audience classification system. Now I'm going to go into primary and secondary audiences. Primary audiences, obviously, it's the main audience that the people who are making the advert want to target. Toy manufacturer, they make this new toy. They're primarily aiming at children, but obviously they're also aiming at the parents of these children because the parents are the ones with the money. Regulation of TV adverts. This is basically something that all adverts have to comply to. Well, all advert makers have to comply to ensure that their advert will be allowed to be broadcasted. One of the primary regulators are the ASA, the Advertising Standards Agency. If you want to have your advert on air, you need to go through these guys. You can submit all the pre-production work for this advert, so scripts, storyboards, cost, budget, location, stuff like that. And the ASA will look through it, see how feasible it is, see if it's suitable enough, and then they'll go, okay, you can make this advert, but change these tiny things. So, that seems a bit, that bit of information seems a little bit misleading. It's not very true, is it? Change that. So yeah, so they send it back to the producers of this ad company. They can either give them the clear to make it, or they can say, change these couple of things, send it back, then make it. And then the producers of the advert, they'll get directors, they'll film it, it'll be cut down, it'll be edited, it'll be sent back to them, and then that advert will be reviewed. And if the ASA find it suitable, appropriate, good enough to be aired, then they'll give them the all clear. If it's not exactly there, it's not completely following all the rules and regulations, they'll be like, can you just change that? Can you just refilm that? And then it'll be good. So they'll put it on hold until it can be rectified, the issues are with it. Or it can be straight up banned, saying, no, not suitable, we cannot have this aired anywhere. Either you take it back and you change everything about it, or you just don't have it aired at all. Then also the ASA, they allow all consumers to have the ability to complain about any ad. So if they find something really offensive, they can complain to the SA. This is either through their website or through a phone call or even an email. I mean, they even still allow letters to be sent through. They send their complaint, and then the ASA reviews this complaint, and if they find it justified, then they will put the ad on hold and tell the producers to change it. If they find it unjustified, then they don't care, they keep it airing, because if it's like a very stupid decision, it's like, I find people with brown eyes very offensive, it's just against my beliefs as a blue-eyed person. They'll be like, no, shut up, what are you talking about? Like, more like 60% of the world's population has brown eyes, shut up, you're offended by 60% of people you see, what? I mentioned a word earlier, misleading. So what is a misleading advert? It's basically an advert that isn't giving the correct information to their audiences. So, and if an advert is deemed misleading, it can be potentially banned forever, or at least taken down until those changes are made. So one example is it was a Ryanair advert, and they had big text along the bottom, and it said, "Flights from £19." What they didn't include, in fact, was that these flights, even if they were £19, they would only be singles. They'd be single flights. It wouldn't be a return. And then because in reality a return ticket would then be like £200. So that advert was banned because it was too much. But it wasn't too much. It was too misleading for them to change it at all. Okay, now on to the final bit of this video. I think I've gone through it quite quickly. I'm not too sure though. Final bit of the video, I'm going to be analysing 6 adverts, and I'm basically going to go through some of the things that I just explained. So, obviously what the advert is, I'll show it here-ish, so I'll stand off to the side when I start talking about it. And then I'll be going through the style/structure of the advert, what persuasive techniques are used, what the coding conventions are, and what the target audience is. So the first ad I'm going to be talking about is My Life Story. It's an advert being commissioned by Bernardo's, a organisation that basically helps young at-risk people. So this advert, it's a reverse narrative. It basically starts off with a man coming in, like 20, 25-ish, and he's really happy. He's talking to the Bernardo's representative. It's done in first person view, as you can see. So it's like the audience is there, but they're not, obviously, because it's an advert. But so the man's talking. He's like, yeah, I had a great life. You know, I've got a kid on the way. Gonna get married. Man, I'm gonna love that kid so much. But then it's a very foreshadowing. He says something very foreshadowing. He says something along the lines of, I never want him to go through what I had to. And then his head goes down. Says, I still have nightmares sometimes. And that's where the invisible cut comes in. That's one of the coding conventions of this advert, is the invisible cut. It's very prevalent in this. It's almost impossible to tell because it's a first person view. So it cuts down, and then he's back, and then he comes back up to, it's a younger version of the guy that we just saw. He's about 18 maybe, and he's talking about this woman that this girl that he fancies, that he's met through the Bernardo's program, saying, I fancy her, so she's a great girl, really love talking to her, she really gets me, stuff like that. Then he walks off, looking at a window or something, and then there's another invisible cut. The kid is now like 16, very angry, very frustrated with the world, saying that no one gets him, stuff like that, and then invisible cut. It doesn't show him throwing the chair, but you hear the sound, and then the camera swoops over to a kid who's about 13 who's just kicked a chair, and he's even angrier than the 16-year-old. He's saying that some kids are calling him thick, but then he made a very ominous comment saying, they'll never talk like that again. He walks behind a pillar, and the camera then follows to the kid is now 8. And he's talking about his mum's new boyfriend who abuses him. Then one final invisible cut to when the kid is 4, and he just simply says, I'm scared. It's the ending is very powerful because it really drags out the emotions of, really drags out the emotions of empathy and sadness towards that little kid. And this is why the advert is really effective, because of it's a reverse narrative. At first you don't realise why he's there, why he's talking to this counsellor, and then slowly throughout the duration of the advert, you see the source of his problems and why he's such an angry child and why he has to go through this Bernardo's program. Yeah, so target audience of this advert would be would be primarily parents, actually, who have younger children that are spiralling down this self-destructive path. Then obviously, because most parents really care for their child and they really want them to succeed in life. They don't like seeing them get hurt and do bad things. I mean, obviously there is the exception of some parents don't see this because they're the cause of this self-destructive spiral. But that's a whole other thing. And then the secondary audience would obviously be kids who are possibly stuck in a self-destructive spiral, but they realise they are, and they want to stop it, but they somehow can't because because of their conditions of life, because their living conditions at home and at school and stuff like that. Okay, second advert is called We Do What We Do, and it's an advert by NatWest, and it's very confusing. When I first saw it, in the cinema, it was very confusing to me because and you'll see why when I talk through it. Because as you can see here, it's very black and white. It's very stylized. It's contrasting between two shots at a time in pairs, segmented. So the first line is "We are thoughtful," and then it shows two kids sharing some ice cream. Very lovely, very nice. And then it shows a man driving along a road, littering, and whilst that's playing, it says that "We are thoughtless." And these shots continue like this. And at first when I saw it, I thought, oh, this is an advert for WWF or another organisation that is trying to prevent natural disasters from happening. Well, not natural, but prevent global warming or the endangerment of species from happening, stuff like that. But then at the very end, the colour slowly blooms into a NatWest worker in her blue blazer uniform, smiling at the camera, and then it fades into the final phrase, the graphics that come up saying, "We are what we do." And it's not misleading in the sense that it should be banned because it's offensive, or it's really misleading that it's just not true. It's misleading in the sense that you are tricked into continually watching it because it grabs you. It's like, oh, what's this about? Oh, what's the company at the end? Oh, it's just NatWest. Ugh. But then it's effective because people are watching it and it sticks in their mind saying, have you seen that advert about have you seen that new NatWest advert? It's like, oh wait, the one that's like, oh, we are what we do, where it looks like an advert for a wildlife protection agency. Yeah, that one. It looks really weird. It's like, yeah, but it made me sign up. Third advert, an EE advert, is titled When Kevin Met Brittany. It's the EE/Apple Music advert. And you know that everyone knows this. It's Kevin Bacon. He's walking down the street, just coming out of an EE shop, listening to some music and singing it out loud from his Apple Mac. Apple iPhone, from his iPhone, and it's through Apple Music that he's listening to it. And then he puts on some old Britney Spears song, and he's dressed up in Britney's not the exact one, but it's the red skin tight leather suit. But obviously it's a bit baggy because he's a man and Britney is a woman. But that's the whole thing. And then Britney walks over saying, "Kevin, what have I told you about going through my wardrobe?" And then Kevin jokingly replies with one of her songs saying, "Oops, I did it again." Another one of Britney's famous songs. So obviously it's very comedy based. It's meant to be comical. It's meant to be funny. It's meant to make you laugh. Which is kind of hard to because it's Kevin Bacon and Britney Spears. But this whole thing, sorry if I've offended anyone. Not. And then it's celebrity endorsement. That's the primary thing that this advert is about: comedy and celebrity endorsement. Because it's got two celebrities that both people know. Not everyone has to like them, but both people still know them. And then it's a very blatant exchange of, it's very blatant synergy that has happened because in celebrity endorsing the thing, because Britney's like, "Oh, it's that Apple Music I see on your phone." It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "You should listen to my new album on that." It's like, "Yes, I will, on my EE phone." So it's very blatant, it's very brash, it's very in your face at the very end saying, "Hey, you should definitely listen to this, you should definitely get this as a service, and you should definitely go to EE fourth ad by Travelodge, made back in 2016. That's Travelogical, and it's part of as far as I'm aware, it's part of an entire series. But I chose this one advert particularly because it's slightly different, because it's done in the style of a musical. So it starts off with puppets, and they're singing about all the different benefits of Travelodge. So at one point he's talking about, oh, very, very comfy bed, or very plush, nice bed. And then another woman, who's a businesswoman, has her business puppet by her saying, like, talking about that Travelodge is all over the country, so it's very quick and easy for her to go to her meeting that's close by. But then as cutting conventions, it's the camera doesn't stop moving at all. It constantly is following the puppets around. It's constantly moving, either as a slide or a pan, or panning shots, zooming in, or tracking forwards. And the set changes very quickly, like a musical. So at one point, the business puppet and woman, they're walking forwards towards the camera, and the camera's moving back away, so the distance is staying the same. But then they're suddenly on this hard wood floor with some chairs and a business table, and a screen comes down like a pantomime would, with a backdrop to a room showing that it's a meeting room. The main target audience is both men and women aged around 25 to 40, 50-ish, who have to travel a lot for business meetings. So it's advertising, hey, we know you travel a lot, why don't you come to one of the best places around, Travelodge, because it's cheap, because it's affordable, it's lovely, and it's close by because it's available everywhere. Because that's Travelogical. Fifth ad, this is probably my favourite ad that I've had to analyse, because it's so entertaining. I don't know if people would know this, but it's the Three Little Pigs advert, the Guardian advert, that was nominated as the best advert of the year back in 2016. Because it is so amazing, the idea of it. It takes the old fable of the Three Little Pigs, you know. Now, take this fable and put it in the real world. That is what this advert has done. It's shown the aftermath of what has happened. Because basically one of the opening shots is a very nice brick house, very ordinary brick house. They go in, they show a cauldron. They then show the pigs being arrested, as you've just seen. And basically, so they've put this well-known fable that everyone will know into today's society of political correctness and hashtag fake news. And basically it reports on the whole aftermath of people siding on both the pig side and the wolf side. And it's this massive advert that lasts for like 2 minutes, and it shows how the world is completely freaking out about about this murder and these pigs going to jail and stuff like that. And then they tie in this whole thing of housing markets and stock prices, and how it may have led to the big bad wolf blowing the three houses down. And then it's also the argument of self-defense. But then it was an argument of it was over self-defense by boiling him alive instead of just, I don't know, like stabbing him a little bit, you know, stay away. Yeah, so then at the very end, unless you were able to look around and find the occasional logo, at the very end you only realise that it's an advert for The Guardian. And it's super effective because it's so enthralling. It brings you in to where you look at it, where you're watching it, and you're just so enthralled. You don't even have to properly follow the storyline. You're just like, ooh, dramatic, ooh. And it's like, wait, what? Guardian advert, what? And then if you rewatch it, you'll be like, oh, Guardian logo there, Guardian logo there, Guardian logo there. And basically the entire advert, it's amazing, and I know, and I understand why it's been nominated, why it was given an award, because it's so effective. And basically, throughout the entire ad, it just draws you in, and that's a persuasive technique. From the very start, it draws you in, and you're just enthralled by it. You just can't stop watching it. But overall, the point of the ad is saying, hey, stick with The Guardian, read our newspaper, because we'll keep you up to date on every event throughout the UK, because we're that good. Primary target audience, basically anyone that prefers to read the newspaper over watch the news on TV. Then final advert. This advert, well, one of these adverts actually banned. Right? One of these adverts were banned because it was very misleading, and then they had to change the whole ad campaign to refit around the phrasing of what they used, because This is the Jackson Make It #AllRight series. You know, the ads by the mobile company 3. Basically, it's a Muppet-style character like professing and singing partially to different people, saying how EE is really good and it's top quality, stuff like that. But the reason one of the ads was banned because Jackson physically said it is undisputed that 3 is the best, which is false because they didn't have any evidence to back it up. It's misleading information. It was a misleading ad because no one had said that 3 was undisputedly the best. It was only said that they were very good. And even then, I don't really like 3, but that's my personal opinion. Yeah, so that's why that one ad was taken down, because it's false advertising. Yeah, so primary target audience, people who want phones. No, I'm joking. People who are looking to switch phones and they're contractors for their phone. Okay, final thing. Television advert rates. This is basically the rates that adverts go for are different at different points of time and during different segments of television. So so on screen now you can see it's the television rates for ITV. And as you can see, 11 o'clock is classed as daytime, 11 o'clock until 5-ish, that's daytime. So then there's also different regions. Yeah, they also cover different regions. So as you can see in London, £1,690 for daytime TV. But then down in the region of Border, £50. That is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous contrast. But then as you can see over here, over at 6:45 in early evening. So this is just for the evening news, the adverts for evening news, just after the evening news on ITV. And the contrast is quite different because, again, I'll just constantly compare from London to Border because those are the two extremes. So, evening news on ITV over in London, £6,510. Then back over in Border, £230. On to adverts in between Coronation Street, London, £11,490. Border, £390. But then these are just different regions, and these are the things that advert companies have to pay ITV to show. So, and then also you can see the totals at the bottom. So, say an advert company wanted to show their advert that is advertising perfume for women. They'd have to pay a ridiculous amount, especially during prime time of Coronation Street and a movie is showing, an insane amount to cover all the regions that are on this list. Yeah, so that was just an example of different TV rates that different television companies, that different network companies use. So that's just one example, but then there are other examples. Okay, so I'm done. Woo. Hopefully I've done that quicker than before, but also hopefully I've still given you the same amount of information and quality of information that you can retain. You can take away saying, I didn't know that. That's quite cool. Bye.